The Self-Reliant Crucible is an expedition with veterans and executives. It's also a harsh test intended to push people out of their comfort zone so that they stretch, they take risks, and they reframe their own story.
I have a feeling just by the size of some of your guys' packs that you're carrying way too much stuff.
We've got two teams. We've got a team of 6 and a team of 8. One team has designated leaders,
medical kit,
and the other team has been guided to just have shared accountability. So you guys figure it out. Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. We're going to see how they develop as a team.
Walk around a bit and see what's going to be most comfortable for you and then adjust.
This is us right here.
And where are we going?
And we're going to Aneroid, right here. Oh. Hang on, guys. Over here. You're going up the service road. Oh. Never supposed to do that, Steve.
What's interesting, at the very beginning, the two groups took different routes. One group took a 1.5 mile route, and one group took a 2+ mile route that's the trail. No right or wrong answer, but you need to have clarity when it comes to your decision-making process.
Right out of the gate, we were going up a hill that was pretty steep, and I mean, I was getting help right away with the backpack and where I should be in the position, and so it's definitely a team.
Oh, you know, I just feel like whittling right now. You know, I'm a little low on oxygen right now. I'm not thinking very clear.
I was immediately humbled and was filled with a lot of fear and like concern that I wouldn't be able to do it, but I'm already feeling better.
She's crushing it.
Yeah,
She's crushing it.
Doing something outdoors like this is quite a stretch. See, even from my advanced age, yes, yeah. You know, it's as long as you're learning and growing, you're not old yet. And I think I'm looking forward to the additional challenges we have ahead of us.
I thought this was an awesome opportunity to learn from different executives and their experiences, and also to like kind of reflect on the values and the skill sets that I've developed in the military. And
disconnect from the chaos that, you know, of our normal lives and be able to enjoy this moment in time together.
You know, before you start marching, did you talk about what are the ground rules for this team? How's this team going to operate? Did we have one of those little sessions?
No, we didn't.
I think we missed that opportunity, partially because I didn't know when we were starting. Because I was still leaning on having a name tag put on my desk, you know, and tell me where to sit. So
I think there's an operating assumption that we can all do this. We signed up for it.
Yeah.
What are the lessons learned for how the team's going to operate tomorrow? Got a big project in the morning to do.
So I think it's just sum it up in like one phrase. You can't communicate enough.
Today's all about two teams building shelters that they could actually survive in for 3 days if need be.
Do we have water, food, and then keeping us dry and warm, shelter?
You're in a survival situation and you want to be able to have something visible, a man-made object visible as high as possible and then as much of a clearing as possible.
In this particular challenge, there were a lot of moving pieces and decisions had to be made and made quickly because they're on a time crunch. And I'm really proud of the team and how they pulled it all together.
let's put the base right where he's standing and get it crossways. Okay.
So it's going to set at the base of the tree. Your end's going to go up top, mine's going to go on the ground.
Keep going left. Be able to get up there.
Yeah. It's just a little nick.
It's a badge of honor.
I don't know the plan, but from what I gather, we're building a shelter that the 8 of us could utilize if necessary in an emergency for 3 days. And
once you get inside, you'll see it's pretty big. I think we could all probably fit in there.
Wow. Nice job, guys.
Is everybody?
Good.
Questions from Team Wally to Team Aneroid?
I guess I'm curious if you could talk about your process and what worked really well, or...
You know, first we talked about, here's my vision, and Then we assigned tasks and everybody got to it. And then I basically, like every 10, 15 minutes, I'd check in with people. And
In some cases, we had assembly lines, like tossing stuff to other people and bring it closer.
So what do you guys give the shelter on a scale of 1 to 10?
20.
The other team, he's
While I had this idea in my head, they made me explain it so we all had a consistent vision about how we were going to build this out.
We all had separate roles, but those roles were sort of a designated place and time in this exercise, and each person sort of fell in line between who was the leader.
I had some subject matter expertise,
Right, which we identified.
but I was not leading. And I think for me personally, that's hard. I'm used to taking charge of situations. And stepping back to follow is really good. So thank you for letting me step back.
At the very beginning, it's about getting from point A to B, and it's all about me. And for some reason, there's always this urgency. We got to get to B really fast. And what happens at the end of that day is, almost always, is, we should have taken some time. And today, what I saw you guys do is you took time, because you guys are all drivers, and you're pushing these people. And you might say all these things about people, but what we're really saying is, come in on time, under budget, at the expense of what other things that we value. When a team is led and comes together collectively, shares that accountability, that responsibility for a common purpose, there's trust, magic happens. The big goals that we all have in our life, we cannot accomplish by ourselves. We just can't. So far, here we are, day 3, thrilled with how the groups come together, really impressive people. So it'll be interesting to see today, after we get up to the top of Aneroid Mountain, what the lessons are, both as a team and individuals.
we decided to take the little bit more challenging route up, and we had a couple planned break points along the route.
Did we know it was going to be more challenging? I know,
I knew in my mind it was going to be.
Okay.
So guys, I want to introduce a new rule. We have another group ahead of us, it's blazing ahead. But we're out here, so let's take a minute, enjoy it, and have fun along the way. They're not going to give us grief once they get up there for being like 15, 30 minutes behind them. But we're going to actually enjoy the trip.
People support what they help create. We would walk to the next rock, and then we'd all go, what are our options? And we put the options on the table, and we decide together what the next objective was.
I think we probably did the same thing you guys did. We just didn't verbalize it as much because nobody had any issues. Like, there was entire trust across the team that when somebody needed to stop, we stopped and did whatever we had to do. So,
except for that moment, because you could not stand there for too long and wait for me, because you guys would all die.
Right.
So you guys had to keep moving, which I understood. I was telling someone, like, it didn't bother me you guys kept going, and Mike stayed back, which was good.
I find it super interesting, like when there's a moment of like frustration, is to look for blame, like immediately.
Okay.
It's like an instinctual, it's like human nature, right? It's like, I want to blame someone or something.
But what was really cool about it is you both, you expressed your moment, and then
I was pretty loud about it. I think a lot of people heard me. I was saying, what the hell are we doing? Why did we go down this? And it was pretty loud. I think this was a mistake.
But what was really cool in the end, here was this moment of tension, crisis, and eventually, who was the guy who hung out with you to get you across that mountain?
The guy who felt guilty.
Sometimes people just need the verbal recognition and like the understanding, like, hey, and I think if I had done that quicker for you, you would have felt better coming up that little spot.
Lesson learned is, hey, if you put the team in maybe a spot that maybe we shouldn't have sent them to, I think it's okay to say, hey, I'm sorry. That was actually our bad. It actually goes a long way the team to hear that and recognize it.
I think over time, doing things that are hard, you build confidence in yourself. Because I felt kind of the same way that you're describing, John, that I needed to get across, and I was in my head, and I needed to get across on my own. I was aware of what was going on around me, but I also knew they needed to get across, and that me slowing them down wasn't helping the team either.
I think one of the challenges sometimes is when we're used to coming into really high performing teams, you have to really evaluate how high performing that team is and where you can push and where you can't push.
One thought I had in mind is like, we were very risk adverse. I never felt unsafe. I mean, I don't know, and I'm not saying that our team is better. You know, we had zero drama.
Boring.
Yeah.
There's going to be cases where we get to a challenging situation like you experienced, and we were fortunate to make some choices to keep us on the less risky route. But in life, we're going to find those challenging encounters.
I'm
cool.
super impressed at how you showed up as a leader and still being scared.
Yeah, no, when I was 14, I saw someone fall off the side of a mountain, and I had to help get them out. So,
yeah, right on. And,
Yeah.
But yet you were, I think, to the team would say, clearly showed up as a leader. Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of envious in some way of like, man, I kind of want to do the tougher one. I want to be, just make me, I want to be at the top, like out of breath. Right? And I'm like, there's a time and a place for that. And that's called combat, that's called war. And I think the biggest thing, the paradigm shift for especially the military guys, you're like, you know what was the mission objective? We had unlimited budget, unlimited time, unlimited resources. The objective was to get to the top. And Clay, I just commend you. It was just awesome. I had so much fun.
I almost think like it's like a difference in like short-term and long-term viewpoint, right? Like, so like you take the smoother route and it's pretty frictionless, and you get to the top, you accomplish the goal. Like, are you best prepared in the long term? Have you worked out the kinks?
Hello. Fancy meeting you here.
What happened is, in my mind, was perfect. That you guys took two different routes, two totally different experiences, very different leadership styles, but did everybody accomplish the objective? Yes. Is everybody back down here safe? Yes. Did we learn a ton about compare and contrast? And to me, one of the biggest things is different situations call for different styles of leadership. And I think the big takeaway is that people do support what they help create. In order to do that, as a leader, you need to empower and delegate and give up power. And you've got to prepare and plan. And once that happens, you actually have to lead less.